idea the amount of ignorant mess we're about to get into right now.
Sit your $5 ass down before I make.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Black on Black Cinema. I'm your host, Jay. I'm here with my co-host, Micah.
Hey.
And Tiara.
Hey.
All right, guys, we're back. This is episode 194, Coming to America. This is the sequel to the classic 1988 film. This one is also starring Eddie Murphy, Arsenio Hall, Jermaine Fowler, Leslie Jones, Tracy Morgan, Kiki Lane, Sherry Headley, Tiana Taylor, Wesley Snipes, and James Earl Jones, amongst many other black people. So this is newly available on Amazon. If you have not seen it, please check it out because this is a review of Coming to America. This is not the actual movie. Okay, so we'll jump right in. I will start with Tiara. Tiara, your thoughts. Actually, let me give the general summary of this movie. This picks up a number of years after. I guess it picks up 30 years after the original, the 30th anniversary of the wedding between Lisa McDowell and Prince Akeem. And they've got 3 daughters, and they're basically trying to figure out James Earl Jones's character, the king is dying, and Akeem will be the king, but since he doesn't have a son, he does not have an heir to the throne because the rules in Zamunda are that only a male can be the heir. So there is a general, from the country of Nextoria, the country next door to Zamunda. The general, played by Wesley Snipes, General Easy, is trying to get, Akeem's daughter, his eldest daughter, to marry his son so that they can, sort of merge, and then his son can be the heir to Zamunda. Obviously he doesn't want to do that, and then he finds out later on, or his daughter doesn't want to do that, and he finds out later on that he, in fact, has a bastard son from his time in New York in the original film. Okay, Tiara, your general thoughts on Coming to America.
So, in general, I enjoyed it.
Okay.
I enjoyed it for what it was, which was a movie full of callbacks and a lot of nostalgia. If I have to actually think about the movie and the story and some of the very cringy jokes that were being told and some of the acting and sort of the lack of character development, particularly with, what's her name? Kiki Lane's Princess Mika Jaffer, who I thought was a very interesting character. And I would have loved to see her do things except really put it off every time she saw Lavelle do something or teach someone how to do a pimp walk or whatever. Then I will probably hate this movie. But considering what it was, my expectations for it were pretty low. It was fun. So,
wow. There's a lot of caveats. Micah, your thoughts on this?
I'm on record as saying that this film could be good, like just give it a shot, right? Mm-hmm. Jay and Terrence were the ones who were like, it's not rated R, it's going to be terrible. And I don't think it's terrible, but I don't think it didn't hit me the way the first one did. And I look, some people are going to be like, oh, you can't compare the first one and this one. Yes, I can. I really can.
No, you should.
It stars the exact same people. It's written by the exact same people, plus Kenya Barris. And it's called Coming to America. It is a direct sequel. I can compare the two movies, right? I think that the best parts of this movie were the parts that were throwbacks to the first movie. The character work that Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall do when they're not the two main characters, Arsenio Hall as his character, I forget his Semmi.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't even trying to do an accent this time, Like, he just really wasn't. He was
he was over that.
But but the character work that threw back to the first movie, I really enjoyed it. Wesley Snipes continues to be one of my favorite actors ever. A man who, if he did not get in trouble with the law, I think he would be higher than where he is. Right? He stole every scene he was in. The costuming was just some of the most beautiful things I've ever seen on film. The weakest parts of the movie were all the new stuff. Jermaine Fowler, he's an okay guy, but he doesn't have a lot to. They don't give him a lot, which is weird because he's like 60-70% of the movie. Like
I was going to say, he's the main,
right? But it doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like they give him a lot. His subplot is just like a watered down rehash of the first movie's main plot. Only, instead of coming to America, he's coming to Zamunda. But
by the way, that should have been the title of the movie.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't know how they missed that.
I didn't buy the love story between the two of them. Whereas in the first movie, I believe that Eddie fell in love, had love at first sight when he found Lisa. Because we see the trials and tribulations that Akeem goes through, and he's finding all these women that just don't cut it. But then he meets Lisa halfway through the movie, and it's like, oh my God, like I'm smitten. Whereas Jermaine Fowler's character, he just kind of gets there and he kind of meets the first person that he actually has a conversation with, and he's just like, yo, I love you. What?
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't buy it. There's a lot of other stuff, but look, I'm usually not a fan of stunt casting, but I don't mind stunt casting. There's a lot of it in this movie.
A whole lot.
Yeah.
And
it was almost a musical. Mm-hmm.
And
that's not fair.
Fair. I will give this movie a pass on that because it looked like Eddie Murphy was calling in like the Black Hollywood Avengers to come in and be in this movie. I don't know. It just kind of felt good. Right. Like it just kind of felt good. So I didn't mind it. But look, if you are, I won't even say don't watch it. If you have a passing interest in, if you have even the vaguest interest of wanting to see this movie, I think you should, because you'll probably enjoy it. Some aspects of it. Just if you've never seen Coming to America, the one from '88 for some reason.
Wow.
Watch. I mean,
just go watch that.
Just go watch it. I mean, watch this first and then watch that, because you will appreciate the genius that was the original Coming to America more. But I don't know if I could give this a wholehearted, like a full-throated, like, you gotta go out and see this.
Right.
It's not, they even make a joke about it, like, oh, there's a bunch of unnecessary sequels. And like, I mean, you're not cute, like, you're not cute just because you're joking about unnecessary sequels being an unnecessary sequel. Like, no, it just,
that only works when it's good.
Yeah.
Right. Like, that's like that one line that in that X-Men movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, the third one's always the bad one. Yo, you're the third one.
And it was. Turns out. Yeah.
So, Mike, there is something you said about Jermaine Fowler not given enough to do. I felt like he was given too much, and actually, I felt like, and I'm not no shade, right? Because I thought he was okay, but I don't feel like we needed this storyline, like the he has a bastard son. Like part of the reason why I don't want to think too much about the plot, because I feel like the whole you had a bastard and this is how you got it. And I know we're going to get into that later because I definitely have some points on that. But I'm thinking you had, he called her a boar. He called her a wild boar. I was like, yo, that's not okay. But anyway, but I feel like because we end in the first movie with clearly Akeem being like a symbol for change, bringing in this very American woman into this new kingdom. My question was, why are we here 30 years later? And basically Akeem is super conservative and we barely see much of their marriage over the 30 years and we barely see them interact at all. I feel like all of this was about this new son. And if anything, their daughter, who was actually the better actress, is probably going to become more widely known over the next few years.
Yeah, she's an actual actress.
Yeah, she's really good. I'm like, why not center her as part of Zamunda's push for change? Because that would have been a much better storyline, I think, than going with the usual, I have a son who's in New York and this is his mama or whatever.
Well, I think that the point was that the sins of the father are passed down to the son. That's the whole point of that, right? Like that's why nothing changed. And you see Eddie Murphy, like once he becomes king, it really hits him, right? And it's I have all this tradition that I have to uphold because I'm told by my father that I have to do it, right? Like, so I think that's what they're doing. The problem is the time frame, right? 30 years have passed.
Right.
So nothing has changed. And I guess he's never had to think about it because he's never been in a position of power to do anything about it, right? He's just the prince.
That's kind of what I'm saying. Like that's what I thought what the end of the first movie was supposed to be like. James Earl Jones's character and the woman who played his wife, they're open to change. So I'm like, 30 years later, why are we still doing this? And I feel like we didn't need a rehash of the original storyline, which is, I feel like this was a missed opportunity to center a new character, a female character in this particular country.
And they try to do it, but they do it in a real half-assed way, man.
Yes.
Like it's like why even do it at this point? Like either do it, shit, or get off the pot, yo. Like the movie should have been about the change in Zamunda, and maybe you can have this character come in from America and be like, hey, this guy is he's going to rule and he's going to marry you. I'm going to force you to marry him. Right. And she just like pushes back on it because like, no, I don't want to get married. Right. Because that would parallel Akeem's story in the first one. Like, I'm not ready to necessarily get married until I find the person that I want to find. Like, don't bring me this motherfucker from America. But I don't know. I'm just throwing ideas out there. But, if you just want to see black people coming in and having a good time and having fun at work, then you go, if you're entertained by like, there's that person.
That's what I did. That's exactly what. That's what all my tweets were. That when I was watching, I was like, oh wow, hey, that's a nigga from Power, and him and his daughter, whatever, playing the son. I was like, oh wow, that's Trevor
Rotimi
Noah.
or whatever that guy's name.
Rotimi.
Whatever. I don't know. I don't watch Power.
Rotisserie.
So okay, my thoughts on this movie. I did not think it was funny. I laughed very little in this movie. But a couple of things. In a weird way, it does work, right? It works solely on nostalgia. It is not so much a sequel film as it is a mini extension of the original movie, right? Like, even sequels should be able to stand as movies on their own. And if you never saw the first one, and I don't mean like you need to know all of the information, every detail that happened in the original, but there is nothing about this movie. There are no major jokes that land if you didn't see the original. To the film's credit, it did a thing that I didn't think it would do, which is it had no desire to grab a new audience. They were like, you are on the 1988 original movie train, or you're not. Like, that's it, right? They weren't like, hey kids, have you ever heard of this movie? Like, they just weren't doing that. They were like, who gives a shit? And they pushed to their wheelhouse, and I appreciate that. Which is weird, because why would you then make it PG-13? Right? Like, that was my whole thing. It's like, my impression was they were going for PG-13 because they were going for a large swath of like a new audience to pull in. But that's not what they did anyway, like narratively. It's not very good. It's not horrible. I didn't hate it. But it leans so heavily on the first movie that it's not its own film. And look, I agree about, centering the story around his eldest daughter, who played by Kiki Lane. That would have been nice. I mean, yeah, she's sort of tangentially, it's like tangentially centered on her, like, 'cause she's always like, she's on the outside of the bastard son story. So it's like, she's always kind of there, right? I agree with Micah. I didn't buy the love story between him and the barber at all, or the hairdresser, or whatever you want to call her, because you didn't see the trials and tribulations, right? Like, all of that was just completely skipped over. Hey, I just met you. Oh, are you not one of the chicks who washes my dick? Cool, you're different. I'm gonna fall in love with you. But where it does work is what you guys said, which is, holy shit, look who it is. And it's just black people. Micah's absolutely right. It's just Eddie Murphy calling in every favor he's ever had in Black Hollywood, right? It's like, yo, Eddie Murphy's on the phone. You got to be in this movie. Like, Rod from the Black Guy Who Tips said, I don't know who you have to piss off as a black person to not have been in this movie. Like, who did you make mad, right? And so that part is nice. Look, Wesley Snipes is officially a scene stealer, right? Like, he stole every scene he was in Dolomite Is My Name, and he steals every single one here.
I feel like he's really underrated, man.
Yeah, he's super underrated. And also, his comedy timing is underrated. Like
he's a good actor.
Period. Yeah, he really is.
He's not just like the action guy. Like, we all like Michael Jai White. Michael Jai White's not a fucking actor, dude. Like, he's an action hero.
Right.
Wesley Snipes can do it all, man.
Yeah. It takes a lot to be able to, like, kick a dude in the teeth and deliver a hilarious line directly after that, right? Like, and I give him a lot of credit for expanding his career considerably, because the comedy stuff really didn't happen until after he's, like, got out of jail, right? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if this dude read a couple of, like watched Blazing Saddles or something. He was like, yo, I think I could do this comedy thing. But he has this, like, way, this particular type of performance he does, these comedic roles, that he's just super nailing. They're, like, weirdly kind of flamboyant, which is odd to me, but I don't know why that is his particular style, but it works. Like, it just works for those roles. The movie is largely just goofy. Like, that's the thing I found, where the original one has some pretty goofy parts to it, don't get me wrong, but it had a lot of heart to it.
Yeah. It felt grounded, and I think that's just because it's in a location that we know, right? Whereas Zamunda is, I mean, it can literally be anything because it doesn't exist.
Well, in fairness, it does exist. It exists at Rick Ross's house. Because which is crazy. Also, he played himself in the movie, according to Wikipedia. He didn't play a Zamundan. He was just like, I'm just Rick Ross. They just invited me to the party. Which
he also said he kept a lot of the stuff that they used as part of the set.
Good for him. I would have too. This is my house. Nah, you ain't taking that.
I mean, you redecorated my house, and now it looks like an African palace.
Yeah, I'm keeping this shit. Oh, that robe? Nah, nigga, that belonged to me now.
I mean, I think this movie. I think even though this movie was set mostly in Zamunda, this movie still could have had a lot more heart. It just felt like they were less focused on the actual story and more focused on, remember this joke, remember the club scene with the twins, that was a wild cameo, by the way. That's a super wild cameo at the end. I was also like, where was Eric LaSalle? Like, I felt like that was a very missed opportunity to have a Soul Glow or Eric LaSalle fucking like, he should have showed up bald, right?
Like,
Right.
nah, yo, that shit fucked my life up.
I'll say this. I realized I didn't say this earlier, but I agree with Mike that if you are someone who just wants like to have like a good time, this movie I think is for you. Just don't look at it any deeper than that. But you can tell that everyone had a fun time on set. It looks like they had a blast, but you know, it's okay for what it is.
I think honestly, I think that's the exact right attitude. It is okay for what it was. One of the things Mike had mentioned, the costuming. Boy, can you tell the difference in one budget, right? But from the original to this, but boy, can you tell the difference that Black Panther makes in how Africans are portrayed in movies now.
Yep.
It does. Like you can see that influence.
Designer.
Yep.
It's the same. That makes sense, right? Like you really see, like in the original, like the people of Zamunda had like a regal look to them, but here it is on full display, and I really appreciate it. I thought that looked quite amazing. Even the hair, like they did a really good job. Like if you look at like Snipes' hairstyles and stuff like that as they go through the movie, they were really impressive. Like just really, like real attention to detail. And those kind of things I thought were really great. Somebody responded to my review of it on Coming Distractions, by saying, it was a very visually pleasing movie. I would agree with that. Like, I don't take anything away from that. It's a really beautiful looking movie. But as far as narrative and, dialogue and things like that, I could have seen the plot. I saw the plot coming a million miles away. It was incredibly predictable, which I'm not super mad at, but it just was. Like every like character line, I'm like, that's going to happen, and that's going to happen. Boom, boom, boom. Like, yeah, of course. That was all predictable.
I thought there was going to be like a paternity question in there. You know what I mean? To kind of shake things up a bit. Like, no. Just that's my rape, baby.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Little odd way they did that, but okay.
So much.
Again, it's 2021. We're just gonna ignore. Okay, we're just gonna ignore it. Not a big deal. Because if it was the reverse, I don't think we'd be ignoring it. It'd be headlines all up and down. Like, yo, this
wouldn't be made.
They canceled.
So before we jump into the movie, I have a question for both of you. Would you like to see Michael B. Jordan play Lavelle? Because apparently he was being considered for the role, but apparently Eddie Murphy said no.
Yeah, because Coogler wanted to do it, right?
Coogler had an idea for a script, and he wanted Michael B. Jordan to be the son, and he gave it to Eddie Murphy, and Eddie Murphy said, "No, I want to do my own idea." So that's a really weird. I don't know how to answer that question because Michael B. Jordan wouldn't be this character. Mm-hmm. Because he would have been in Ryan Coogler's story.
Yeah, he would have been Killmonger. Everyone knows that, obviously.
So
he'd have been if Killmonger had been raised in Africa or whatever.
Nah, he would have still been raised in Queens. He would. It's the exact same story as Black Panther, but a comedy. Exactly the same. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird to think about Ryan Coogler doing a comedy, like because that dude does like really great serious films. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. That seems like a weird choice. Mm-hmm. Like all I'm thinking of him just killing multiple people in that Without Remorse trailer. Like it's hard for me to see him yucking it up with Eddie Murphy at the end of the day. Like that seems odd. So.
Yeah, I can see that.
Is Michael B. Jordan funny?
Yes, I've noticed.
Example.
No, you just said. I said funny. I didn't say fine. I said funny.
I heard you.
Yeah, It's like it starts with an F. I heard. That's all I heard. No, I don't.
I feel like he's been funny. He's had comedic moments. Right?
Wait, what? The Wire?
Where's Wallace?
Soap opera he was in?
I mean, Where's Wallace was kind of funny if you've seen The Wire. But
they killed that dude. Sad.
He was
Creed?
funny as a dead kid.
Maybe the Creed movies he had comedic timing.
Nah, you ain't no comedic timing.
No. No, those motherfuckers lived in Philadelphia. Ain't nothing funny about that.
That's just sad. No, he did. What was he did? He did Chronicle. He had a couple funny lines in that.
He had funny moments in the Fantastic
No,
Four.
I knew you were gonna say that. No, just don't. Just don't. Just don't. Just don't.
No, Michael Jordan's not funny. Like Michael B. Jordan is not a funny guy. He's a great actor, but no, disagree. No, I can't see it. I can't
agree to disagree.
Agree to disagree. I love how you don't have an answer, but you're like, nah, I gotta defend him.
I thought Fantastic Four was hilarious, so you know
it was something. Look, Mike ain't gonna say nothing. He's just
we'll be here all night.
Yeah, he's just steam coming out of his ears. Okay, I guess let's go through it.
So,
he just so exasperated. It's fine. Let's do it.
Look, I'm just gonna be reading from the Wikipedia. So
going at lightning fucking speed.
If there's something you want to talk about, feel free to
see. That's how I know he'll give a fuck. He's just like, nah, you got to interrupt me.
Shari Headley has not aged at all.
She looked great.
She looks exactly the same.
She looked great.
Was like, wow, you're gorgeous.
Yeah.
Still.
No, she looks. Yes. Yeah, I was kind of wondering about that. I mean, what happened to the mom? I mean,
the mother, the actress died.
That's what I assumed. I don't know about the sister. I'd have to. I'll look her up. But
who cares? She's somewhere in Queens.
No, I'm saying in real life.
Oh,
see, look,
yeah, the woman who played the mother passed away in real life in like the 90s. She had like cancer or something.
Like after they did Lion King, I think. Yeah.
So yeah. It's the 30th anniversary of the wedding of Lisa McDowell and Prince Akeem of Zamunda. And we get some some establishing shots of how life in Zamunda is. And we see them being awoken by a golden triangle that just pops out of a box. Because these people live large, and that's the flyest set of pajamas I've ever seen. And we get introduced to the couple's three daughters, one of whom, the middle daughter, is Eddie Murphy's actual daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Just like
that's
him.
cute.
Mm-hmm.
And we get a couple scenes of Eddie Murphy's of Akeem training his daughters in stick fighting.
Yeah.
And see, this is the here he's like, oh, I'm not ashamed to have daughters, and he's a girl dad, right? Like he's real proud of it. Like he's real proud that his daughters are getting good enough to kick his ass. And I was like, oh, okay. Like maybe things have changed, right? Like, he's very progressive. And then here comes fucking Arsenio Hall. I'm not even gonna call him Semmi because he don't want to be called Semmi. He's not playing Semmi. He's playing Arsenio Hall.
He really didn't give a fuck.
He did not give a fuck about trying to throw on that weak ass African accent.
Arsenio Hall is 65 years old.
He
does not look it. Does he? I don't think he looks it. He looks a little.
No, he don't look 65.
Not 65, but he looks like. I mean, he looked like old man a little bit. Like he does. He does. He still got money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's summoned to first General he gets word that some people from the next country over called Next Doria, and as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh my
I know,
God.
I know.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Okay. Unobtainium.
Right. Come on, yo, stop.
I had to do a double take, because I was like, did he just say Next Doria? My wife's like, no, I don't think so.
That would be stupid.
And here comes Michael Blackstone or whatever the fuck his name.
Michael Blackson.
Michael Blackson.
Yeah, that's the dude who tried to rob you, right? Like, dude who tried to scam you. Remember some African dude tried to scam you? Get money out?
Yeah. He was like, hey, I can, I got your resume off of this voice actors website. How about you give me I'm going to give you a check. You cash that check and then you give me the money and then I'll let you keep some of the money that you get after you cash this check from a hospital. Like, wait, what?
Yeah, Michael Blackson was trying to get all of Michael's money. Send me your credit card. Like, nah, get the fuck out of here.
General Izzy comes in and we find out that General Izzy of Nextdoria is he's a little pissed, right? There was 30 years ago, Akeem was supposed to marry this woman. And the two countries were supposed to, form a union with that marriage. And it turns out General Izzy is the brother of the woman that Eddie Murphy was supposed to marry. Now, that woman is the bark like a dog. Woof, woof.
Yo, and she
woof.
is still barking, yo.
A big dog. Woof. Woof. Hop on one leg. Woof. Woof. And that was his sister. And he's like, hey, you're supposed to marry my sister, her right here. And then here she is still hopping and barking because the prince of the neighboring kingdom told her to do it. So he's gonna, but why would she? Well, I guess it's this is women know their place in this Africa.
All right, look.
They do whatever the man tells them.
Finally. I mean, just making good points, man.
I'm going to ignore that, and I'm just going to say this is
That's fair. No, you should. You should ignore it.
Happy International Women's Day, TR.
Right. Month. Is it the whole month?
Yes, the specific day.
Yes.
But yes, it is the month.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the whole month.
And fuck Micah for saying everything he said before and then wishing me a happy.
Yeah, I told you he's not a good person. I don't know why people think he is.
Micah is so mean, guys. Again, I have seen him spit in a movie theater, and it was disgusting.
Yeah.
So that's the type of person Micah is. Anyway, this is what Jay was
Happy
saying.
Women's Day, Micah. Fuck you.
Like, Jay, but this is what you meant earlier when you said there's certain jokes that wouldn't land unless you've seen the first one, and that's one of them. I'm like, oh wow, okay, she's still barking, which I'm like, why wouldn't anyone tell her, yo, you can stop? It's been 30 years, and also her feet aren't chafed or anything like that. She just like nothing has happened. She just keeps barking and barking.
She
and
good.
hopping.
And she had on, didn't she? Did she still have on the same dress?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So she ain't changed her clothes in 30 years.
And also it's clearly that she's, obviously with 30s, you put on a little bit of weight, which I'm like, so did she stop barking enough to have her costume resized? Like what's?
Nah, they just had to do it while she was in the middle of it.
But like, that's the kind of thing where like, if I'm just seeing this for the first time, being introduced to the Coming to America universe or whatever, and if I saw that, I wouldn't think that was funny. But because I've seen the first one, I'm like, huh.
Yeah, it's funny. I had the thought of that's not funny because I saw the first one. Again, this is like the start of many rehashes, and it's callbacks are one thing, right? Callbacks can be fun and they should be few and far between. That's what makes them powerful. Every major joke in this movie is a rehash. Every last one of them. They're all callbacks. And it starts to diminish the power of the first movie in comparison when you're watching this, right? Like you can go back and watch the original and still laugh your ass off, but because it's like callback after callback after callback after callback, like what is your own movie? Make your movie.
But here's the thing. For me, the callbacks were the funniest parts of the movie, aside from Wesley Snipes.
Yeah. And they still weren't funny.
Yeah.
I mean, name something that was new that was like, all right, that was kind of funny.
Anything with Leslie Jones is what I wouldn't say.
I thought Leslie Jones is great.
Sure.
I thought she was fine in this movie. She wasn't screaming her ass off. And,
I thought she was.
And she didn't get a lot of screen time. So
you thought she was like because she wasn't there? That feels like what I'm saying, but a nice way of saying it.
I thought she was funny, but I think Leslie Jones is funny in general. So I had a good time with her.
My favorite Leslie Jones is Leslie Jones commentating on the news on Twitter. That's my favorite Leslie Jones.
My favorite Leslie Jones is when she was on Weekend Update flirting with Colin Jost.
Which I like, by the way. I liked his cameo in this. I thought it was funny.
Yes.
That actually is a good callback because it's a super deep cut. Like you have to know like weird production connections between movies to get that one.
So
I thought Trevor Noah was funny.
Yeah, his was funny too.
And
right.
or what about the scene where they're rapping and dancing and Lavelle starts rapping to Tiana?
I didn't like that. I didn't care for it.
Well, as soon as Prince dies, man, like they just do what the fuck ever with his music. They just don't give a fuck. Like fuck you. Let's rob this grave for all we can.
I mean, it really is kind of like that.
We get Wesley Snipes, General Izzy is like, you don't have an heir. And so my son has to marry your daughter or I'm gonna kill you. And he's like, all right, well, I gotta go see my pops. And he goes to see James Earl Jones's character. James Earl Jones, legendary actor, 88 years old.
I don't like to hear that.
Really, he was stoked.
90.
He was 88 when they filmed this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 2019.
So,
no, I don't want to think about James Earl Jones passing, man. Like that bothers me. That saddens me. Like it really does.
So he was 88 when they filmed this, and he was like, "Look, I would love to be in this movie, but you got to come to me."
Yeah, no, I fly nowhere
because I'm old and I ain't going nowhere. You want me to be in this movie, which I would love to be in. You got to come to me, and they came to him. Which is why his scene is in one room. A lot of his scenes are like cut or it's like a weird edit, but yeah, they came to him because that's the kind of power that man commands.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't have, if he's still alive and capable, you can't have a movie and not include him. Like that's like, you can't kill that guy between the credits.
Right.
Like, nah,
yeah, that would have been fucked up.
Yeah, it would have been super fucked up. It's nice. I love seeing James Earl Jones, but I also hate being reminded that James Earl Jones is in his twilight years. Like it's not going to be long before we hear some fucking horrible Facebook update that James Earl Jones passed, and that's going to suck. It just is.
Well, if he does, I hope that he does in a way that happens in this movie.
Yeah, that was lovely. Not a bad idea, by the way. Throw yourself a baller ass funeral before you die. That sounds like something I'm into. Like that feels great.
Yeah.
And y'all better come. I'm gonna throw it next week.
You want people to make sure that they worship, that they celebrate your life, and you want proof that everybody's having.
That's
a good
right.
time.
I don't trust y'all. Fuck that. Because once I'm a ghost, which aren't real, I can't do anything. Why didn't you come to my party? You piece of shit. Yeah, so I don't know. I kind of love that scene. But it's also sad. Like in real life, it's sad.
So, James Earl Jones's character is named Jaffy Jaffer, and Jaffy, and his shaman Baba, played by Arsenio Hall, with beautiful makeup.
Look, I didn't think the makeup looked bad. I actually thought it was pretty good.
That made me recoil. I was like, yo, he looks like the Crypt Keeper. It just like, and every time he smiled, I was like,
His teeth were fucked up. Yeah, that was pretty good makeup. I thought. I was actually pretty impressed.
Yeah.
As a new
they
character.
reveal to Akeem that he has a male son because the king is like, look, you need to pass. You need a male heir because you ain't gonna make it. If I die, General Izzy's gonna come for you, and you're gonna be dead in a week. You're gonna be dead in a week. And
why we just learn this now? Like, I mean, this is like, Michael, as you were saying, I'm like, it's been 30 years and his daughter's like 25. Why did Akeem not know this beforehand?
Nope.
Just,
well,
I'm sorry. You know what? I realize I'm asking too many questions.
Yeah.
You using way too much logic and reason. Like, get out of here.
I mean, and this is the scene where Akeem kind of changes, right? Like he's like, hey, I'm Prince Akeem, but now he's like, you need a male heir, and this is where the sins of the father are literally passed to the son.
Yeah,
and they're like, he's like, well, I don't have a male heir. Fine, I'll have sex with my hot wife to try and get a male son, even though I'm 60 goddamn years old and fucking tired.
I'd be like, whatever. Just keep practicing.
And Semmi's like, the shaman is like, oh no, bro, you do have a male heir. I drew a perfectly good sketch of him for you.
Right.
And he's like, Eddie Murphy's like, well, this is impossible. And then Semmi is like, it's not that impossible. You see, and then we flash back. And look, I'll give the movie credit. This flashback scene was dope.
Oh,
yes.
It was really good CGI
great
to pull this off.
Yeah.
Right.
This was really good use of makeup and CGI, and Arsenio Hall kind of had like a porcelain face a little bit.
Yeah.
But Eddie Murphy looked really, really good. Yeah. And they show a couple clips of when they were in the club. All the DJs want to feel my breasts, like that scene, right? And Semmi's like, well, I met this chick who looks just like Leslie Jones, and we remember that time we went back to your apartment, and then she lit a candle or some shit, and it turns out that she drugged you and fucked you while you were drugged, and then you got her pregnant. So that might be what the shaman is talking about.
Yeah. Again, if the roles were reversed and if this was a woman, like, we would be having serious conversations about a date rape scene.
But and not even that, just like why not just say that he sowed his royal oats, had a fling with a couple chicks?
Right. I don't understand
the point of him going there.
Right. I didn't understand.
Chick. Turns out, this one ain't the right. Maybe this one ain't the one.
But they made it a point to say that his character did not have sex with any woman in Queens, which I'm like, are you sure? Like, that doesn't, considering who the character was at that time, it doesn't make sense for them to write that in this movie. But there were just some other things about this scene that I just did not like. And I know it's because this is about a Black woman who is, again, being described as, oh yeah, I was sitting there and I thought I was dreaming, and then this wild boar just jumps on me and she's just
that's not acceptable.
I'm like, come on, yo. And like, I don't like it because of what people have said to and about Leslie Jones on social media, which is like driven her away from that. And I'm just like, that's a joke that you just didn't have to make. You could have written this completely differently. You could have, if you're going to go this tired route of the whole bastard son, you might as well do the whole, well, I met a woman, we fucked and I never heard from her again. And it turns out she's been trying to look for me the last 30 years, but she gave up. You could have done that. We did not need to do this for laughs, because it's not funny. And maybe if this movie had come out 25 years ago or not too long after the first one, it probably would have played better, just because we were in a different time then. And
100%. 100%.
But in 2019, 2020, 2021, it's not okay. I didn't like this scene. It wasn't funny to me at all.
Yeah, I don't know why you can't just make it like. I get what they're trying to do in some aspects, right? They're trying to modernize some of these jokes. They're trying to modernize some of the thought processes of the characters. And what I would have done is I would have said, hey, in the modern era, just make adults responsible for their actions, right? Male or female. And just say, hey, I met this woman. Like, you could even play it like, hey, we were both drinking. Like, just make it mutual, right? Like, we were both drinking, having a good time. Like, we were dancing. And and stuff happened and we had a one night stand or whatever. And I just totally forgot because I got just completely blasted, right?
Exactly.
And this kid is born and 30 years later, the story. But don't make it that he was drugged and taken advantage of, or she was drugged and taken advantage of. Like, I think people often miss the idea of sort of an egalitarian situation, which it is not. It's not that like women are treated at a higher level or men treated at a higher level. Is make them both equally responsible. They're two adults having sex. Just make them two adults having sex and them equally responsible for that situation. That's the way you do it. You don't continue this like weird cycle of what is inarguable like date rape, right? And I know people are going to be like, "Oh, it's not because it's a guy and like some dumb frat boy, you can't rape the willing type of stupid shit." But in reality, it is date rape because if you just change the sex, no one would think it's otherwise. So, and like it doesn't turn me off to the whole movie. I just think it's like shitty writing.
Right.
And I'm actually kind of disappointed that even ended up in the movie. Like, it's just dumb. Yeah. It's just poorly written and it's just stupid. So yeah, I agree. It could have definitely been a different way. And still kept the same story. Like, you didn't have to.
Right.
Like you wouldn't have been pigeonholed that you had to do something completely different. You didn't.
Did we get to the part about McDowell's yet? About the new McDowell's?
No, not yet.
Okay.
There's a McDowell's in Zamunda, but we'll get to.
I mean, they briefly showed it in the beginning, but I didn't think it was anything worth talking about. Like, hey, they opened up a McDowell's.
Just there's like a small piece of trivia. So Sam Jackson, who robbed the first McDowell's, he would have come back, but he said scheduling conflicts, probably some Marvel shit. But he would have come back as that same character, but robbing the McDowell's in Zamunda. So that was like another callback that they were planning on having.
How?
I don't know.
How would his crackhead ass have gotten? How would his crackhead ass have gotten a plane ticket, flown a 12-hour flight to fucking Africa with a shotgun because I can't imagine they have shotguns in Zamunda. I just can't, right?
No.
Like, and even if they do, where he gonna buy it? He don't got Zamundan money.
He would have found a vibranium gun and probably like, I don't know.
I feel like he should have tried to rob Life with Louie with a spear. Like that would have been how that scene would have gone, and it would have been equally stupid. I'm glad that didn't happen.
I'm glad that didn't happen.
Yeah, I just don't need that.
I'm glad that didn't happen. So look, they all know what they have to do. Akeem is like, I'm going back to America.
No. Hold. You're sliding a little too fast through this Wikipedia. You're just going to ignore
about the funeral, yo. Like, goddamn. Give me a second. You driving? Do you want to drive?
No, I want to talk about In Vogue and Salt and Pepper and why the fuck they're in this movie.
I'm getting ready to talk about
Go ahead.
Do you want to drive?
No, I don't. Trust me, I do not.
I know you don't. So he's like, I'm going to America, but first, but King Joffrey says, look, I'm gonna die soon, and I want you to plan the best funeral for me ever. And he's like, I promise you I will do it. And he's like, no, I want to be there to make sure that you do.
This is what I'm going to do. I'm forcing you guys to come.
So we get a very, very outlandish scene. This is a scene of, this is about 5 minutes of Eddie Murphy, the actor, throwing his dick around, saying, hey, look at all my famous friends. Look at all my famous friends. And look, you gonna throw somebody at a funeral, you gonna throw James Earl Jones at a funeral. When James Earl Jones dies,
yes,
this better be it.
Just show this footage. It's fine. If Morgan Freeman isn't narrating it, I don't want to hear about it. Like, I just don't.
Oh yeah, he was. That was definitely him in the voiceover.
Yo, he's playing himself.
He's
Like,
right there.
yeah, he's in the movie.
Oh really? I didn't see him. I only heard his voice.
No,
Oh, okay.
he's right there. He's like, I'm gonna be here. Fly me to Zamunda. And I don't do a good Morgan Freeman.
He was tired of fucking his own granddaughter, and so he came.
Yo, okay. I don't know if is that true?
Step granddaughter. Yeah, it was true. She died though, unfortunately. She was killed.
So,
Yeah, no, yeah, Morgan Freeman's kind of fucked up, guys. I don't know if people know that. he is. No, this scene is dope. It's dope. Look, it's nice to see John Amos too, by the way. He's in the scene. It's great seeing him. And he had I thought one of the better roles in the movie. Yeah, In Vogue, Salt and Pepper, they all show up. And this is just like Mike I said, it's just him throwing his Hollywood dick around. I'm not mad about it. I think black people should do it more.
Yeah, I want a celebration of my life like this.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. And then I just want to, die like right then and there, just so I know that everyone loves me. And then I can just go on and pass on.
Yo,
that's how I'm gonna go out.
I love that he was like, Morgan Freeman was like, everyone was so sad that King Joffrey died, that no one had sex anymore. And they cut to Eddie Murphy. He was like, excuse me? Like, I wasn't that sad. Like, relax. Have you seen my wife? Yeah, then fucking Gladys Knight is there. Jesus Christ. Yeah, this is dope, man. It's just black people having fun.
Where was Spinderella? Was she?
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah, that controversy.
Cinderella got beef, don't they?
Yes.
She's out of the group. That's fucked up.
Is it just salt, pepper? I always thought Spinderella was the N in salt and pepper.
Nah, yo. They just never even added her name to the list. That's what she's still mad about. Yeah, that's fucked up. But, yeah, whatever. So, yeah, then he died. Sad.
Yeah, then he died. They toll the bells. What's his name? Semmi and Akeem. They're like, look, I know you're sad, maybe you should act like your dad and garbage and yell at me or throw something at me. That'll make you feel good. He's like, nah, we're going to America right now. And he's like, all right, let's go to America.
I guess.
Let's fucking do it. So we're in Queens. We see Lavelle. Is that his name? Lavelle?
Yeah, Lavelle.
Yes.
Yeah, why you sound so mad? You're like, yes.
I mean, because I'm just thinking, like, we still have 3 daughters who are just pushed to the side as we go on this new journey for Lavelle.
Yeah,
and that's what makes like the half-hearted attempt to talk like feminism and female leadership in roles. Like that's what the whole main through line of this movie about having the male heir makes that just seem like half-hearted to me. Like it doesn't seem, you didn't earn that.
Right.
Yeah, look, I get their mindset, right? I don't agree with it, but I get it. Which is, if you're going to tell this story, you have to show like that like what they're trying to do is they're trying to show the man is like kind of incompetent and the woman is clearly the person who should be in that role. But in order to tell that story, and I can't believe I'm saying this to a story written by Kenya Barris, who is a very good writer. But in order to tell that story, you gotta have the woman there too, and like she's just not included for such huge swaths of time
until he's literally about to get eaten by an animal. Then of course she's useful to help him overcome obstacles because that's her role.
Yeah,
I even saw it as like the only reason she got it is because he didn't want it.
Yes.
I mean,
like, yes.
I mean, arguably that is what happened.
And it just, so yeah, I'm a little disappointed with
right
with how big of a deal they make it.
Would
And it just,
would it surprise you to know that it's an all male writing team?
yeah, it's the two from the original and Kenya Barris.
Like, come on, man! Like you couldn't have thought if you were like, I don't know, if I'm trying to write a movie about a woman taking over Zamunda at the end, at least at the end, I'm definitely going to include a female perspective in the writing staff because they're going to be able to have some input. And the fact that they only have dudes shows how sheltered they are, right? Like they just missed. And again, I'm not saying like I could do better, but they just missed an opportunity to include her. Like it would have made much more sense, narratively speaking, if when Eddie goes to like when him and Semmi go to New York, she tags along. Or the daughters go along or something. I don't know. Or the oldest daughter sneaks on the plane or something and she's like, no, I'm here. I want to find out what's going on with this, right? Like to have her completely excluded and then just throw her in once they get into Zamunda and it's not even that much is a little odd, right? Like they just missed an opportunity to keep her at the forefront of the story.
Yeah. So, again, disappointed. But we see Lavelle. We're introduced to him. Who is apparently a bright kid who just kind of, life kind of threw him some curveballs. He had to drop out of school and stuff like that. And he's at a job interview, with Colin Jost, I think Colin Jost is very funny.
Yep.
I know a lot of people don't like Colin Jost. I think he's hilarious.
Really? Is that a thing?
Yeah, people don't like Colin Jost. People think he's not funny. I think
oh wow.
He's no Seth Meyers, right?
No, he's not.
But I think he's very funny.
I think people are jealous. I think people are jealous of Colin Jost. That's what I think.
Yeah,
Because he's married to Scarlett Johansson.
Yes.
Is that what you're about to say?
Yeah. Hey, look, yes, because he's a fucking regular ass looking dude who's a comedian. Yeah, and they're probably like, why him? Why not me?
He's a comedian.
Because he's funny.
He's a wrestling dork. Like he likes wrestling.
Yeah, he's a nerd.
Comedian. He's a nerd.
Hey, you know who else? People are jealous of? I don't even know his name, and I'm jealous of him. That guy who just married Mackenzie Davis Bezos. He's a science teacher. Yeah, fuck that guy.
He's probably really funny.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Be jealous. Good for Colin Jost.
Anyway, Colin Jost is the grandnephew of the Duke brothers, who were the antagonists from Trading Places.
That's great.
Which is funny to me. And Colin Jost, he does this thing. He can play. He knows how to do subtle racism very well. And
he learned it from Michael Che, working with him for years.
Yeah, like he's very good at it. And the two of them, Lavelle and Colin Jost, they get into an argument, and Lavelle is just like, you know what, fuck you, yo, I don't need this job. I'm my own man. I can do whatever I want, right? So that means going back to what he used to do to make money, scalping tickets. Semmi and Akeem are back in Queens, and they go to the barbershop, My T Sharp barbershop. And these old motherfuckers are still alive cutting hair.
Right. 1,000 years old.
What would have been hilarious is if they had Cuba Gooding Jr. sitting in that goddamn chair.
Oh, yeah. That's a missed opportunity. That's a missed opportunity. That's right.
Yep.
But yeah, this is this is some of the stuff that I like from the movie. The Jewish guys like, oh, it's Kunta Kinte and Ebola, and they're all like, giving each other shit. And then the guy in the barber chair says some shit out of pocket, which isn't like totally out of pocket, but like it's out of pocket, right? He was like, yeah, something about like, and like with the flies sitting on the eyeballs.
Oh, like it was, what was it? The eyes, yeah, on like the starving babies.
and everybody was like, whoa, young man. We don't talk like that in here. That's out of my shit.
One, I thought at first glance, I thought that was Ryan Coogler, which was hilarious to me. I was like, what the fuck?
Wait, that wasn't Ryan Coogler?
No, that's not him.
No,
Yo, I thought it was.
Like, no, it don't look nothing like him. It don't.
Are you sure?
Nothing like. Are you sure?
Yes.
It don't look nothing like.
That
him.
looch just like him.
Nah, that's his cousin.
Racist. You are.
That's Brian Coogler. That's his cousin. Knock it off.
I do think all of y'all look alike.
Oh, see?
Fat ass face. Nah, yo.
Yo,
Big
that is
ass
definitely.
cheeks. Nah, yo.
Are you sure? Like, I'm
gonna look it up. That dude that's Brian Coogler. That's his cousin. Knock it off. But this is one of those moments where they're trying to update. Like, oh, this is I forget the term he used, but like this is like inappropriate or whatever. Like they're trying to update the characters for the time. And I thought they did a pretty decent job, right? Like they're not going to not shit on him for coming in here and like making African jokes, but they're like, they have a line where in the original they had no line. They didn't give a fuck. So like they got wiser with age, even though they were already old as fuck.
Right.
So yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like it's a good moment. And again, it's just nice to see those characters again.
Yeah.
But like that one dude is like I know obviously Arsenio Hall and Eddie Murphy are in makeup and they're also being made up to look much older, but like, and that other dude definitely is too. But like that one dude is just like an old black man now. Like the dude with the yellow, barber's jacket on or shirt. He's not played by anybody. Like this is an old,
that boy good.
Yeah. He's just an old black man. Like everybody else is in makeup. He's like, nah, yeah, I'm just really old. Like time has come for me. It's kind of fucked up. But it's kind of wild to see these characters again. I thought that was dope.
So
unrealistic, but dope.
They go into that barbershop to ask around for Lavelle. They pull up to Madison Square Garden, and Eddie Murphy dons a disguise. Which consists of him wearing a New York Mets jacket with an I Love New York hat and 9 pieces of flair buttoned to the jacket. And he introduces himself. He's like, I believe that you are my son, the and future Prince of Zamunda. And we cut to Lavelle's home, where we see Lavelle's family, his mom, played by Leslie Jones, and Tracy Morgan playing his uncle. And they all come back, and Leslie Jones's character immediately recognizes Eddie Murphy. I don't know how, with his being fully conscious and awake, how she could have recognized him. But
is Lunel supposed to be the girlfriend who fucks Semmi? Is that the idea? Because she also had blonde hair.
I have no idea.
I'm surprised. Like I was surprised that they didn't go into that. But and also she didn't, because this is PG-13. She couldn't be as crass of a comedian as she normally
That's
is.
why she didn't say much.
Yeah, Lunel is not capable of she is not capable of keeping it down. This is not who she is.
So they basically they convince the family that they are royalty when Semmi has the worst briefcase in the world, apparently. and it opens, and you see a bunch of money and gold bars, and then Lavelle is like, you know what? Maybe I am your son. How about that?
I'm trying to get paid.
And no DNA test was.
Thank you.
Nothing.
Nah, fuck that.
Like that's what I thought was going to happen, right? Like it turns out, like, oh no, he actually isn't my son, and then he has to come to terms with, oh yeah, well, duh, I've been training my daughter to be the heir all along. How stupid of me to look for a male heir when the heir, the heir that I need is right here all along, right? Like,
but you know what? When you have an all male writing team, this is what you get. Just people just skipping over these little things. Not even little things, just obvious things. But
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say this is not a good movie, guys. Like it's it's really not good. It's a bit of a mess. I would have loved for him to find out that Lavelle is not his son, but still treat him in like, hey, like he finds out he's not his son, and he just kind of keeps it to himself and doesn't say anything. And then you have that same ending, right, of like his daughter taking over. And just be like, don't worry about it. Like, you're the ambassador to America or whatever, but like, just let him live his life, like taking care of this kid. But no, that's not what happens. Without a DNA test, he still is his son. So sure, I guess.
right.
yeah. She got and Leslie Jones even in that scene is like, yeah, I was a bit of a hoe, y'all. I mean, okay. All right.
Again, like that is also a joke that I'm just like that we don't need these types of jokes in 2021. And maybe it's just me being maybe I'm being sensitive. Maybe. But I just feel like that's bad writing. You could have said something else, but
okay, here's a serious question. How does that work though if she is okay with having those lines written about her?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if she's fine with it, then fine. Okay.
I mean, you could still be offended by it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
it's just
No, I'm not saying that you don't have a right to be offended by it. I'm just saying, as far as her as a person who has been like talked about like pretty shittily on social media and stuff like that, which I don't think is cool. Like I wonder, like, how does that work with her being like, oh, the wild boar thing, or like those kind of things? Like, I wonder how she works that out, right? Like, is that wrong to her, or is she like, nah, these are just jokes, so it's fine? I mean, she's a comedian, right? So like,
yeah,
these are just jokes. Does she not take them as serious? I wonder.
I mean, she's a well-established comedian. She's a grown woman. She can decide like what jokes are going to play well for her and her characters. I don't personally have to like them, but that doesn't mean that if she's like, this is fine, then okay. As a consumer, I don't have to like it.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. Fine. No, I just playing devil's advocate.
I made mention of it because if she admits that, you know, she a hoe, she liked having sex a lot.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Who's to say that child is his?
A child who looks nothing like Eddie Murphy. So
it's like, you know,
he's got your hat.
I'm just thinking of different ways that they could have really kind of approached this.
How would you have done it?
I don't know. Well, one, it would have been consensual sex, right? Two, it would have been, they would have done the DNA test, but for some reason, like not get the results until the end of the movie. I don't know how.
It's on delay.
Why? Yeah. They did it in America, and then they fly to Zamunda, and then they'll have to fly back. I don't know. Right. Like it doesn't come into question until later on in the movie, right? It turns out that, you know, he's not the son, and it could be genuine ignorance on everyone's part, or you could have had Leslie Jones be like, this is my meal ticket. You know what I mean? She could have played like a villain role but it turns out he's not the son. I like your idea of, well, he's not the son, but I'm gonna, you know, take care of this kid because he doesn't have a father figure in his life. And then my idea of, oh, hey, you know, the heir that I've been looking for, I've duh, like all along she's been here. This is my eldest daughter.
Yeah.
And of course she could rule Zamunda because I trained her
Right.
to be a leader.
How about this? Finds out it isn't his son. DNA comes back. Turns out they do know who the father is because she's a bit of a hoe, according to her back in the day. You find out, oh, hey Lavelle, here's your father, a bald-headed Eric LaSalle.
Eric LaSalle.
Come on, man. That's $1 billion idea. Not a $1 billion idea. This movie probably didn't really do that well. But is this a $100 idea? Like, that's how you bring him in. It's not that hard. Come on, man. What's Eric LaSalle doing right now? Nothing.
He said he couldn't be part of it because he has scheduling conflicts. Otherwise, he would have been there.
With what? With what?
Watching old episodes of ER?
Right. Like, what is he doing right now? Come on, man.
And
I would have loved to see that dude in a ridiculous, like, bald cap, like, or like a bald cap with just a couple of bits of Jerry curl coming down. Like, come on, that would be dope.
Eddie Murphy said if Eric LaSalle was able to return, they would have brought back Allison Dean, who played the sister, and they would have been in some sort of romantic relationship because of how right.
All right. So look, they're like, hey, come to Zamunda with us. And they spend the majority of the time in Zamunda, in Rick Ross's house. General Izzy gets word that General Izzy sitting there like a goddamn military Umar Johnson teaching kids about fucking Nextdoriaism, and he gets word that Akeem came back and he brought back a son. And he's like, yo, what the fuck, yo? Like, he's trying to keep me out of. I want those two to get married for some reason, so that we can have power. I guess. I don't know. So a lot of this movie is now the fish out of water from the reverse perspective,
right?
From Lavelle's perspective of someone being in Queens to coming into this, African nation where everything is like one. I love that Africa in movies is just being portrayed as the best fucking place in the goddamn world.
Yeah, that's nice to see.
Yeah, 100.
And we get rehashes of classic like bits from the first Coming to America featuring Lavelle, right? Like at one point he opens up the windows and he's standing on a balcony and, mirroring the yes, fuck you too scene from the first movie. He's got the maidens to wash him. Leslie Jones gets her own slave, I guess, to wash her.
It's fine. That's fine. It's fine.
Oh, look, I ain't got a problem with
It's
it.
whatever.
I thought that was that one dude from was it Queen Sugar that everybody?
Yeah, Queen Sugar.
Yeah, I thought that was him.
No, they didn't. They don't look anything alike.
I don't watch that show. At first, I realized it wasn't him in a second,
Y'all
but like
y'all are just racist. That's fine. It's cool.
I mean, yeah, but I can admit it. You can't.
Yeah, look, that is Ryan Coogler. Like it was him. Y'all being racist.
We see he's clean now, and Lavelle's clean now, and he meets his beautician that's going to work on his hair. This woman is gorgeous.
Yeah,
she is a South African actress. That's another thing that I appreciate about this movie. Look, put people on, man. Like,
yeah,
this is what you do when you got that kind of clout. You put people on. Every other person does it. Every other group of people do it.
they do.
And she's pretty good in this movie. Again, not given a lot to work with. Like I wanted these two to get together, but I didn't buy how they did it. Especially because the movie,
Right.
like here on the trivia page I have up, the movie, all of the events of the movie take place within a week.
Yeah, that's a little fast.
That's a bit fast, especially with all this travel time that they're doing, flying to and from Zamunda.
Right, there's a half a day flight. Like, come on. Side note, I don't have long hair or any. That dude's hair looked dope. Yeah, his hair looked dope. I actually I liked the attention to the hair in this movie, like a lot. I thought it was pretty cool. So no, I thought his hair looked dope. So good for them. I'm not rocking a rat tail, but that's my personal preference.
What's the name of that teacher that rocked a rat tail when rat tails were like all from high school?
A white guy?
No, a black dude. Black dude. He was a drafting teacher. I can't remember his name.
Oh yeah. He was like a young dude. Yeah.
He was a gray-haired old black man rocking a rat tail.
Oh, that dude. Okay, yeah. No, that's unacceptable.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, you don't rat.
Unacceptable in the late 90s. It's unacceptable now. So they get cleaned up. Lavelle and his mother, they get cleaned up, and they are introduced to everyone. And now they're talking about how you gotta do some pass like this test to become a prince. They're waiting for General Izzy to come in to bring his daughter, because he's about to introduce the two of them, and he's about to make this union happen. It's like, well, got a male heir, got Izzy won't be on my back. All I gotta do is get these two hitched. And unbeknownst to the rest of the family is like, yo, what are you doing, yo? And Eddie Murphy's like, hey, I'm about to marry these two. And in comes Izzy's daughter, played by Tiana Taylor. Now, look, I don't know who Tiana Taylor is.
You've never heard her music?
Is her music trip hop jazz music?
He's so old.
You're not old.
No, I'm not. I just like what I like.
That's an old ass man statement.
She sings R&B. Some of her songs are pretty good.
Okay. Is she good enough to sing a Prince song? No
one except Prince is good enough to sing a Prince song.
That is the correct answer, by the way.
All right. They got a whole chorus, a whole band. They got an HBCU band. They got Lavelle Johnson singing. They got an actual singer to sing it. And they're singing one of the nastiest songs that Prince has. And what did you think about this performance? Aside from the fact that, the grave robbing Prince, like, did you appreciate it?
No, I did not. Look, here's what I appreciated. I like the choreography. I thought that was fun. I think the scene is fun, right? Right. I don't necessarily care for the musical choice of butchering a fantastic Prince song. That being said, Tiana Taylor can do whatever she wants to do. I don't give a shit. I'm gonna watch it. This is what I learned in this movie. I don't know anything about this woman. I've only seen pictures of her. I don't listen to her music. That's fine. I don't even have an opinion on her music. Here's what I do have an opinion on. She looks amazing in this scene. And I'm sorry, if I was him, I'd be like, sold. Like, I'm done. This is this is it. This is for me. Cool. I'm good. I got it. Totally understand. I'm so glad I made the 12-hour flight here. This worked out great. It's fine.
Even once you find out the type of woman that she is?
I don't care. I just saw her do what she did, and I just got off a 12-hour flight. I don't care. I've only been with this beautician for 93 seconds. I haven't developed a relationship. I'm fine. You see what was going on? I was hanging out with Colin Jost 10 minutes ago. Who gives a shit? It's over for me. It's fine.
I mean, and look, Eddie Murphy's his character is like, hey, do you Lavelle, do you want this? Is this something that you want? You want to be married? He was like, yeah, I'm about it.
Yeah, I get it.
And they're like, all right, well, it's settled. And he's gonna get married to her. You don't have to kill me. Our two, countries can be like neighborias or whatever, and it's all good. But then the shaman comes in and is like, nope, your father said that he has to be a prince, and fuck all that biological shit. In order to be a prince, you got to pass a test. What?
Shouldn't you have worked that out before we started this?
Like, that don't make sense, though, right? Like pass the test. Oh, you mean a DNA test?
Right. Like, why do I have to, like, I got to fight a lion and shit?
You would think a DNA test would have come up at some point during the discussion, but no.
Yeah. So he has to pass a series of traditional and hazardous tests. Lavelle is highly reluctant to place himself in danger. Boy, this Wikipedia flies by.
It's like, and the end. Like, wow.
Right. So they're like, all right, you got a bunch of tests that you got to take. We see a cameo from Trevor Noah from ZNN. The Zamunda News Network, and the next few minutes is actually quite a few minutes is Lavelle learning how to be Zamundan, royalty, learning the history, and being told about the physical challenge that he has to do. He has to get the whiskers off a lion.
No.
That's his final test. And he's like, I don't know if I want to do this. He's back at the barber's chair and he's like talking to the beautician. He's like, I don't know if I want to do all this. And I don't think I can. And get this stupid ass rat tail off of me. This braid. It's a rat tail and a traditional braid. And we see the two of them bond some more. This is, I guess, them falling in love. Not buying it.
Yeah, and then there's like a number of flashbacks, and it's like, all right.
Right. She's telling him. She's telling him about Prince King Akeem, and he's like, haven't you heard the story of the prince? And they're doing all the flashbacks, and this is for the people who have not seen the first movie.
Yeah,
right.
This is what that's for. So that's So when you say they're not trying to get a new audience, I think they're trying, which is why they made it PG-13. But and then this is why you should. This is just them catching you up. It's just incredibly ham-handed. Like it's not elegant at all.
It really isn't. It really isn't.
This shouldn't have been the story. Because if you can't figure out a way to tell a decent story without literally referencing the previous movie, and this is like part of your main plot, like it's just they're just I don't know.
Well,
I think the word to describe it is lazy storytelling. Like it was.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we said it like from a high level view, the movie is enjoyable, but it feels like they were just like, yeah, we're not really going to take any time to really develop this and have a standard song. Just take these flashbacks and we're just going to go. It's good enough. That's the energy you get from.
Yeah, I guess what it feels like to me, like lazy storytelling or lazy writing is a good way to describe it. But I also think it's like, it feels like it went through a number of revisions and they were just kind of like, I don't know, just go with the first one.
Right.
Like it feels like they didn't go through the editing process enough where somebody would go, yeah, this feels ham-handed, or this part doesn't quite work, or this is clunky, this isn't as tight as it needs to be. Like, there's a lot of that. And I think part of it might be, as they're filming it, they're just kind of thinking, I mean, everybody seems to be having a good time. Fuck.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think
that's
like,
what
it's weird to see a movie that doesn't work as a film. It's not very good, but it works solely on the aspect of the power of the people involved. Right. Like,
right.
And really the behind the scenes stuff that we don't even know about is what's really driving the success of this movie, right? Which is Arsenio Hall and Eddie Murphy are still good friends. They're having a good time. They still love this world, and they want to call in and have all their friends over, right? Like, the first movie didn't have a ton of people in it. You know, I mean, it obviously had some major people in it, but it didn't have a lot of like their closest friends. This one absolutely does. Like, so they were just
the first movie was carried on the backs of those two guys,
right?
Like, people didn't like Sam Jackson was a cameo. He wasn't a household name.
No, not by any means.
They had to make Louis Anderson be in the movie,
right? The studio did, right?
Forced to put him in the movie,
right?
And
John Amos.
John Amos wasn't known to. I can't imagine John Amos was known to white audiences.
Right.
Hell no. Hell no. Get the fuck out of here. I mean, here's the thing. John Amos wasn't really even known for movies, right? He was known for television. So it's like, whoa, what's this TV nigga doing in a real ass movie? So it's, though you're right, like the first movie lived and died on those two guys, which is why they played so many roles, right? Like, it lived and died with them, where now that sort of power is spread out, and it's just like, it almost loses its strength because it's not solely about the two of them, which is a weird thing. And I think you could have made a sequel that dealt far more with the two of them. Like, I guess if I would have called it, if I'm going with Coming to America, which I don't know, it's just such a lazy title, I hate it, but Coming to America, like, all right, we get it. So if I'm going to call it that, I would have had, like, fuck it, have Akeem and Semmi go back to America for whatever reason, but they both have daughters, right? Like, and it's like, or they both have kids and they take them with them. And those two kids kind of like, fuck my dad. Like, yeah, fuck my dad too. And they kind of go off on a similar adventure on their own, right? Where these fathers are trying to rein their kids in America. Like, you don't understand this country. It's so different. Like, you could have done something like that would have worked, where there's still a large focus, but they would have also been passing it on to the next generation, instead of just like pulling the movie completely away from Eddie Murphy, pulling it completely away from Arsenio Hall, and focusing on this new character, right? Like, who doesn't have like as tight of a connection to those characters. Like, I don't know. It feels a little weird. So,
well, Jay, I mean, if only they had daughters in this movie to do that with, but
no, they don't.
They didn't. So I guess we're stuck with Lavelle. So
I love how mad you are at this character. Why does he even exist?
Like, I mean, but that was my thought. Like, when I came from the high of, oh my God, and this person, oh, this is so cute, I'm really enjoying this. And when I thought about it, I was like, wait, why did we need this storyline in the first place? Yeah. Like, and then hearing both of you like kind of give your ideas on how they could have tried literally anything else, and it probably would have been a better just film. Then that's, I get a little irritated. But there are no other female representation in this movie. So,
well, and before Micah says something, I would just like to point out for people watching the video to look at Micah's face. A man so annoyed by having to go through this movie.
We're about to kick it in overdrive.
Yeah, I can tell. Like, your face when we were talking was just like, I don't want to be here.
We're about to kick it in overdrive.
Go ahead, please.
So there's after I don't even know what part I love. Oh, okay. So the borough was telling him about the first movie. She basically just described the first movie to him, and so now
back in 1988.
So now Lavelle is like, oh, okay, well maybe I should try to understand these people a little more. But the barber's like, you should you should, but like you got to be you also. You know what I mean? You can't be somebody else. You got to be you, because that's what Akeem did. He was himself, and that's how he met Queen Lisa, and that's how he had his happily after ever. So the moral of the story is be yourself. So Lavelle's like, all right, I'm gonna be myself, and it works. He ingratiates himself with the family. We see a couple of scenes of Mika, the eldest daughter, training. Because what you do when you're mad, you got to take your aggression out. You fucking grab a stick and you start beating up trees.
Women are emotional because us women we're so emotional when we don't get.
That's not it. She's legit pissed.
Yeah, no, she a badass. Like I'm not mad at that scene. Shout out to Puma for that outfit.
I'm joking, right?
Okay, and so the two of them. So Lavelle's out there. He's looking at the line. He's like, yo, how the fuck am I gonna get these goddamn whiskers off this line? And Mika comes up and he's like, I hope the fucking line eat your ass.
Yo, she's so mad.
And Tiara stood up and started clapping. Yeah. And they
kill him.
The two of them have an argument and they're like, oh, okay, well, how are we gonna actually do this? And they both together come up with a plan to do it, to snip the whiskers of this fucking CG lion.
Oh God. Sorry.
And so they basically are like, hey, Lavelle's got to use some of his smarts, and Mika's got to use some of her smarts, and they trap the lion. They use Lavelle as bait to get the lion to kind of attack, but Lavelle is trapped in a cage and the lion is distracted. What's the lion distracted from so that he doesn't bother so he doesn't try to eat Lavelle's hand? What's he distracted from? He's distracted by cat food.
I hate it.
Cat food.
I hate it. I hate it here. I do.
By cat food, yo.
Because it's a
cat.
Yeah,
because it's a big cat.
Wow.
How the fuck did Eddie Murphy's character do that shit?
It doesn't matter, Micah.
No, he was born. He was born into it. So like he don't have to take the test, I guess.
No, he said he had to do it.
Oh, that's right. He did.
Had to do it and he said he did it first try.
Yeah, he lied about that, by the way.
Yeah,
sure.
No
yeah, no, he does. Like, because everyone's like, wasn't it like the 10th try? Like, why are you lying? Yep. Side note, Kiki Lane is gorgeous, right? Like she is a really beautiful woman, and I like that they gave the eldest daughter they chose a dark skinned actress. I appreciated that. Yeah, she's beautiful. Shout out to Puma for making her look like a badass in all Puma gear every time she shows up, which is just hilarious.
Puma must have donated a lot of money to this film.
You gotta pay for the movie somehow.
Yeah, hey, I ain't mad at it.
Yeah.
I get it.
If it looked good, it looked good. So he got the whiskers, and now it's like, all right, you got to pass one final test. You got to stand in front of all these people, and you got to let us snip your foreskin. And he's like, but I already got my foreskin snipped. It's like, nope, you got to do it. You got to get your dick cut. That's how you prove that you're ready to be a prince. Again, all male writers' room, because
this is not funny.
This is not funny.
No, it really isn't.
But
hey guys, this is your great grandfather's foreskin, and this is your grandfather's foreskin, and this is my foreskin, and here's your foreskin or whatever. Even though you've been circumcised before, it's not funny. I didn't laugh at this part.
Yeah, I didn't either. So he's officially a prince. That's how the royals do it, right? You gotta
sure.
You gotta eat a bowl of bangers and mash or whatever, and then you're a prince. You gotta not be darker than a paper bag, and then you can be a prince, right?
We have questions about the skin tone of your child. Fuck you, lady. I'm out.
We get a scene of Lavelle and what is this cat? I don't want to keep calling her the barber. Mirembe, who is the barber. They're walking and they're talking and they're like, "Oh, you like movies? Yeah, American movies are the best." He's like, "Oh, the best? Oh, yeah, they're the best, especially unnecessary sequels." They're like, "Nah, unnecessary sequels are stupid and nobody asked for them."
I thought this
Wink.
scene was cute. This scene was cute. I like this part.
Did you like that dialogue, or you like the scene itself?
I like seeing the both of them just kind of be cute.
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that.
Yeah, I mean, if the movie had a little bit more of this, or like we said earlier, if it had, him being brought suitors or whatever, like the first movie. I mean, everything else is paralleling the first movie,
Right.
I just didn't buy that he would want to instantly marry this woman from this one date, one non-date.
Right.
So everybody's at a party for and they kiss during this. And that seals it.
Yeah, he ain't blind. I get it.
Yeah. Look, I ain't mad at him.
No, she's gorgeous.
So at his ascension party, Lavelle overhears a conversation between Akeem and Izzy, which makes him believe that Akeem is just exploiting him. So he and Mirembe, Mary, his mom, and Uncle Reem decide to go back to New York on the private jet.
Okay, this is a heavy ask, but can movies please stop doing this misunderstanding, nobody talks to each other shit? I'm so sick of this trope.
Should have immediately confronted him. Right. Everything.
I hate it.
Everything could be solved with a conversation.
Hey, yo, what the fuck? No, yo, I'm just saying it. I'm just nodding along because this guy's an asshole. I don't actually believe this. Oh, word? You sure? Yeah, I don't actually believe that. I think that's fucked up. All right, cool. Bet. All right, move on. There's better ways to write a story than, oh, I have heard your conversation. Like, come on. I hate it. That's lazy writing. It's a thing that happens in like romantic comedies all the time, and it's super annoying. Ugh. Come on.
Dikembe Mutombo is in this scene because why the fuck not?
I appreciated that cameo. Just I thought, sure. Like him just being ignorant,
racist.
Yeah, yeah. Scoot out of the way, Mutombo. Like, nah, like legitimately, that's Dikembe Mutombo. That was great. That was a great cameo.
I did.
Yeah, all the cameos in this movie are pretty great.
Yeah, like they're not bad at all. Yeah, some of them I was like, wow, that's a deep pull, but like, okay, I liked it.
So they decide that they want to fly back to Queens, Lisa is upset because Lisa started befriending Mary because, hey, here's somebody from where I'm from.
Right.
Who, I can kind of really let my hair down and I don't have to be a fucking queen all the time.
Another missed opportunity to explore that relationship.
Yeah, it was
30 years later. But okay.
Right. If you will bring queens to Zamunda, then bring queens to Zamunda, right? Like let these motherfuckers, like he was being very Zamundan in Queens. Let these motherfuckers really get like really queensy in Zamunda.
Yeah, why aren't more people wearing Timbs? That's my question.
Another female character who was prominent in the first movie getting shoved to the side. But
yeah, Lisa definitely should have had a larger part considering her role in this entire universe. Right? Like that doesn't make sense.
She was, if the first movie's a fairy tale, she's the fucking princess. Dude.
Right. Like once they meet in the movie, she's 50% of the movie. Like, right. I mean, come on, for her to have one scene of like of heart in this movie is kind of a disservice to the role.
She was the entire motivation of the first movie.
Right.
I just
and again, I'm even okay with her being shoved to the side if you take another female character and push her up, which would have been the daughter. Like, do we even barely get dialogue from the other two daughters? Like, they don't even say anything.
No.
I mean, I don't really think one is a child and the other one is Eddie Murphy's daughter.
Right,
I
but
don't know if she's an actress.
right, but I'm just saying, like, besides the fight scene, like, you could have given them something else to do. Again, this movie suffers a devastating blow by having zero female perspective in it. And that doesn't mean it wouldn't have been funny as hell or everything else, but you gotta give them something to do. Just give them something to do. It's a missed opportunity.
So she kicks him out of the bedroom because she's pissed because Akeem said that he would change things, and he is not. So Akeem goes to McDowell's Zamunda, and he's mopping floors because that's his Zen thing, right? Like he enjoys mopping the floors. And John Amos' character comes in, and they have a really good scene of Mr. McDowell getting something out of the McFlurby machine.
Yeah, that's fucking hilarious.
This is a good scene.
By the way, it should have been broken. Like that would have.
Look, that's what somebody on Facebook, they were like, "Hey, look, say what you want about McDowell's. At least their McFlurby machine wasn't broken."
Yeah, like or some line about that would have been pretty good. Like that would have been great. This is the heart of the movie, right? This is the one scene that has real heart to it.
This is the other father telling him, like, you know, this is the last parent, so to speak, that Akeem has, and he's like, look, I really respected your mom, and which, God, if she was alive, this would have been the perfect way to get to try and recoup some of that ill will that you've developed with your lack of female representation or poor female representation.
Right.
If his mom was alive, she could have been this character, right? She could have been like, you know, but you know, the actress passed away. So, and I understand him not wanting to recast. So, so John Amos's character is like, look, your mother was the shit. She is one of the few people in this world that I like super duper respect. And you just have to think about what your mom would want you to do. And he's like, you know what? I'm coming to America. I'm coming 3 America.
He said it. He said the title. The one thing about that scene, and I like that scene a lot. That's actually probably my favorite scene in the movie. Because again, it's the heart of the movie. Like it really is. And it's a really good logical connection to the first movie, right? Like story wise and stuff like that. My guess is whoever worked on writing that scene was like, who fucking nailed that shit? And you did, right? Like that's a really good scene. But where it's like, it doesn't have the fucking payoff is the line in the original movie. If you're going to do all of these rehashes and all this other stuff, the line in the original movie, when Joffrey's like, I cannot allow him to marry this girl. Like she's not of royal blood or whatever the fucking, his comment is. And she goes, and he's like, oh, that's the law. And she's like, aren't you the king? Right? Like that moment of like, I thought you were the fucking man, right? You're supposed to like to push him up to like use his ego against him to make change. And you never get Lisa to say that to him. And I was like,
yeah,
like
you could have had Lisa.
That's the fucking, but that's the point of the scene. That's the point of the scene. The scene is supposed to be that his wife, who is supposed to be seen as a secondary in society, is the one to go, hey, wake up, dumbass. You're supposed to, like, she's supposed to remind him of his power. That's the power of that role. In the quiet moments, she's supposed to be powerful.
This whole scene could have been done with the wife and not John Amos's character.
Right. And look, I'm not even mad, by the way. I'm not even mad that it's Amos. But when he goes back to fucking to the palace and he's like, it should have been, hey, I'm going to America. I gotta find my son. I gotta talk to him and be like, well, what about your daughter? And then him having that moment where he goes, oh, Right. Sorry. I'm an idiot. Thank you for reminding me how much of a moron I am. But you're right. With Lisa, it would have actually been even more powerful. But it's such a missed opportunity.
But wasn't the scene where she kicks him out of the bedroom supposed to be that?
Yeah, but it really wasn't. Because it wasn't.
No, she came off. One, she was intoxicated.
Right, so it doesn't come clean.
So it doesn't come off. It comes off like she's being super emotional. Right.
Yes.
Instead of level-headed and thinking like a queen.
Right.
But hearing what you guys are saying, I think the writers meant for the scenes that you're talking about. I think they wanted that to be another version of what the '88 film did.
Her scene, you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's what they intended it to be.
And that's weird because, like Micah said, she's intoxicated, right? She comes off as like emotional, quote unquote emotional and stuff like that. Like, think back to that scene in the original movie. The mom comes off as fucking regal, man, and she's just like, "You're supposed to be the king. He's got the fucking lion on his thing. Like, James Earl Jones looks regal," and she's like, all of that shit in the quiet moment between the two of us. You know what the fuck you're supposed to be doing. And she fucking pushes him. That's the point of that role, right? Like, I know people, this isn't my own personal thing and I'll take heat for it, but I know people like amp up like the king queen thing in talk. I personally don't care for it. But the power of that role historically is a diminished role from the king. They're not even. I know people pretend like that's not true, but they're not even. Queens are lower than kings, right? But the point is, in those quiet moments, they're supposed to be your advisor. Like, they're supposed to tell you what somebody else cannot tell you, which is you are fucking up your wife, the person you love, who you respect, that you're, behind scenes, right? That you respect and you, right? Because it's like, they don't, right? Like in reality.
Like there's a reason that in chess the queen is the most powerful, but the game is over if the king gets captured.
Bingo. Thank you, yo. Like, again, it's history. Like histrionics, it's not that hard to understand. But in those quiet moments, she's supposed to push him and to make him a better man. And you fucking blew it. You blew it by, she's drunk. Like, that's dumb. I get it. You're doing it for laughs. But then she like weirdly sobers up in the middle of the conversation. That's where the opportunity came from. Like, and giving it to Amos, I'm not mad about, but not allowing her to be the person to push him fucking sucks, considering what the first movie is, right? Him going and trying to find this woman and picking a woman different, like weirdly very different than everywhere he came from, but in the end, similar to his mom, which is the scene that they fucking show earlier of him pulling the veil back, and he looks up because he's shocked because he thinks it's the fucking barking dog woman, and his mom is the person he looks at first, and she gives him the like, what your mom do? And then he looks at his father because his dad's like, your mom made me do it. She was right. That's the fucking point, man. Did you watch the movie? Did you watch it, or did you just look for the dick jokes? Like, there's more there. That's why the original movie sustains, because of moments like that. And they blew it. They fucking blew it. Now I'm mad. I wanted to just, I just wanted it to be a mediocre movie, but now I'm mad. God damn it. God damn it.
This always happens, Joe. This always happens when it's like.
I feel like I feel like I'm at a point where it's like I really enjoy the movie, and now I'm just at a point where I'm like, I want this to be over because I'm upset with.
Welcome to Black on Black Cinema.
Right, like
I would change your score.
Right, you can.
We didn't give scores at the beginning, Micah.
That's true. You didn't. Yeah, like in thinking about this particular scene and tying it to the first one, that is really quite disappointing. It really is. What a mistake.
So, Akeem talks to Semmi. He's like, "Look, you gotta defend Zamunda from Izzy. I gotta for the next, I don't know, 24 to 48 hours, depending on how long the fucking flight is to New York and back again. While I go get my son." And he's like, "I know you can." Say, "I'm not a fighter, even though I was training with you throughout the first movie. I'm not a fighter." He's like, "Look, you can do it." We get a quick scene of the barbers. They're like, "Oh yeah, he's at this church." These barbers know everything, man. Izzy comes in. I love the way Wesley Snipes just walks through this fucking door. And he confronts Mika, and he's like, "So where's the prince? Time to get married." And Mika's like, "He ain't here right now." And Izzy is like, "You need to learn your place. Be a little polite to when a man's here." And they proceed to beat the shit out of him. The three daughters and Semmi. Meanwhile, in New York, we get Arsenio Hall's preacher character back to try to marry Mutombo and Lavelle, but Akeem comes in and is like, "Nah, let me holler at you. Let me holler at you real quick. You sure this what you want?" Oh, there's an Uber joke in here for some reason.
It's Lyft, Micah. It's Lyft.
Lyft. Okay.
That makes it
like,
different.
Look, he's like, Arsenio Hall delivers the sweat from a baboon's balls line, but it was very awkward this time around.
Oh God, it was terrible. Oh my God.
Defend yourself, you sweat from a baboon's balls. Like that grammatically, that doesn't
Grammatically, it doesn't work.
You singular sweat from a baboon's balls would.
Yo,
I mean, is it one ball of sweat from the baboon's balls, or one drop, or because by saying sweat from a baboon's balls, it implies that there is a lot of perspiration from the testicles of the animal.
Yo, just kill me now, yo.
Look, the most offensive part of this is imagining anybody beating Wesley Snipes in a fight. Get out of here.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, look.
Like he does one kick on Arsenio Hall. I was like, I want more. Like, come on, man. You know you got it in you. Like, I kind of would have loved for him to like cut loose like a little bit. Like that would have been kind of fun. But again,
another missed opportunity.
a missed opportunity. It's Wesley fucking Snipes, man.
I feel like this whole review just been like, yeah, they could have done this. This is just a movie of cameos, callbacks, and missed opportunities.
I feel like that's exactly how I'm going to write a description for this episode. Like, yeah.
So Akeem gives his blessing to Lavelle to marry Mutombo, and he decides that, you know, he releases Lavelle from any royal obligations. You know, you don't have to be the prince if you don't want to be the prince. They come back home. Akeem changes the royal succession tradition by allowing his daughter Mika, which is Akeem spelled backwards, to ascend the throne.
I hate that.
Death.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay.
Thanks for letting me know that. I hate that. I hate it. I mean, I say it hypocritically because obviously my daughter's name is Yaj, but that's different. Fuck off.
Can't wait for my grandson Zam to be born. So he changes the tradition by allowing Mika to ascend the throne when he dies, while Lavelle is made ambassador of Zamunda in New York because they want to stay in New York. And General Izzy just opened up next door for no fucking reason. For no damn reason.
Nope.
He wanted to kill this motherfucker a week ago. And now he's just like, hey, I got nothing out of this deal, but I'm just going to open the trade routes. Cause your daughter's whooped my ass, I guess is the reason. And then the film concludes with a grand party at the Royal Palace. And there are a couple of cameos here. Sexual Chocolate, Randy Watson and Sexual Chocolate make it back.
Mm-hmm.
You see how you perked up real quick? That's just trying to look. They're trying to end on a high note.
Right. That's exactly why it's tied exactly at this moment. You're like, so what's happening? Oh shit, Randy Watson! Oh.
What freaked me out is they got MC Peaches.
That's a wild cameo. Holy shit.
Yeah, that was funny.
So look,
And I love their mouths are just agape as they're rapping on stage, like, again.
That one old guy who loves Randy Watson and sexual chocolate, he is just having the time of his life. Look, this movie as not good of a movie it is, it has some feel good moments.
It does.
And you can tell everyone really, like, they even have outtakes and stuff.
Yeah,
you can tell everyone just really wanted to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one thing to have a bad movie just be bad and everybody knows it. I won't even say this movie's bad. It's one thing to just be in a movie and everybody just doesn't like, it's just a job. But this was like a family reunion for Black Hollywood.
Right.
Yep.
And I can appreciate it. Now, in saying that, I'm not giving this movie a pass. We have to want more than just, like, I've seen people say, well, this movie's good because it's not a black trauma film. And we got to aspire to more than that, to just not be about slavery. We have to want movies to be made that are, one, good, and good not just because they're not about slavery.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I agree with that.
Yeah.
So, look, if you like this movie, I'm not mad at you. There's a
Right.
lot to like, but unnecessary sequel is the 2-word review that I would give this.
I mean, this could have been a short. If they wanted
Could have been a short. God damn.
Damn, a fucking SNL skit.
I mean, like, I don't mean that like
A really
like,
popular YouTube video.
yeah, like if they just wanted to like maybe 10 to 15 minutes, maybe a half hour, that would have been fine with all just like just nothing but cameos and the funeral ball. I would have been okay with that. But this was also okay. It was fine. I had a good time watching it. Obviously, since we've gone through this review, maybe my opinion has, changed a little bit. But this is why I didn't want to think too much about the plot, because I knew I would get upset. But I had a fun time. And I think if you like the original one, this is something to have on. If you're working from home, put it on while you're working and then just watch it in the background.
Did you stay through the credits?
No.
You didn't? You didn't see John Legend?
Oh, wait. I did get to that part and I was like, okay, I think I'm going to go watch, 911 or something.
Yo, what is the new thing of shitting on John Legend's singing skills, man? Like, come on, man.
No. He's a great singer. It's just like, that rendition of the Coming to America song. I'm like, okay, not for me. Not for me.
I did not see this, so when we're done with this, I'll have to.
Wow, he was just like,
oh no, dude! The credits hit, and I was like, I get it. Like, it was like 1:00 in the morning when I finished. I was like, I'm going to bed. No, so I did not see the mid-credits scene.
That's fine.
Look, I guess the question is, at the end of the day, the big, like, is Eddie Murphy back? That was, people asked that when Dolomite Is My Name came out. And when we reviewed that, we all liked it, right? Like, Micah Terrence and I all liked that movie a lot. It was fucking hilarious. But it didn't feel like a fair judgment because he's like playing this other historical character and stuff like that. This is his movie. So I would re-ask the question. Do you feel like Eddie Murphy is back?
It depends on which Eddie Murphy you're talking about. If you're talking about Eddie Murphy right when he had kids and decided, I don't want to make raunchy stuff anymore, yeah, that Eddie Murphy's back.
No, I'm talking about like
this ain't Mr. Church Eddie, right?
Oh.
But this ain't raw Eddie. This ain't delirious Eddie.
No, I'm talking about Coming to America era Eddie, like 88. Do you feel like at the pinnacle of his career. Does it feel like he could recapture that? Like, could he be a huge star again?
This is not going to lead to a Eddie Murphy renaissance. No.
Okay.
I don't think that this.
That's basically my question. Yeah.
This is not going to lead to an Eddie Murphy renaissance. There was something that I wanted to
Coming Free America.
Yeah, Coming Through America. Shortly after the film debuted on Amazon TV, star Eddie Murphy stated he has an idea for Coming to America 3, but he has no intentions of making it until he himself is 75 years old in real life. Quote, not made up to look 75. He believes he physically needs to be that age, not just look it through makeup effects for it to be credible. If he is going to be true to his word, then the second sequel will follow in 2036 with Arsenio Hall being 80 years old.
Wow.
I mean, it's not promised that you're gonna reach 75, dude. So
no,
but also I'm good. I don't need a third one. So I'm, you know what? Yes, fine.
2036.
Yep, do it. Cool. With you.
I don't need that.
But just put, what's her name?
I'm gonna be 57 years old. We still doing this?
Just make Mika the center of the story. That's all I.
Nah, no. You know what? I know. I'm not Coming Through America. Like, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not doing it. I don't want it.
You're not gonna watch the screener or whatever. Not just.
Yo, I'm gonna be 50. I'm gonna be damn near 60. I'm gonna be damn near his age in this movie right now. Right now. Like, no, I don't want it.
Eddie Murphy wanted Tracy Morgan to play Lavelle, but Arsenio Hall objected on the grounds that casting was implausible. Arsenio Hall is quoted as saying, "I'm like, I love Tracy, and he's the funniest guy in the world, but yo, Ed, y'all about the same age."
Like, yeah, that don't make any sense. That would have been a wild choice, by the way.
That don't math right.
Yeah, dude, like, come on, man. Come on. Does Eddie Murphy have anything else in the works? I don't see anything yet. So we'll see. Look, Dolomite Is My Name, I thought was a really great sort of comeback into comedy, for the mainstream. So we'll see if he can continue at least doing something, to that aspect or, better. But, yeah, I wouldn't say I was impressed by it, but I didn't hate it. So I'll leave it at that. Do we have any scores? Do you want to give scores at the end?
You
know what, Tiara? What's your score?
You give scores.
All right. I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5.
Okay. I originally gave it a 2.5 out of 5 in my Coming Distractions review. But boy, does that scene with John Amos really make me mad. Yeah, like, it really bothers me that they blew that. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with a 2, actually.
Yeah.
So, Micah, you don't like giving scores.
Whatever, 2. Doesn't matter.
Wow. This is how I know you don't give a shit about this movie. Whatever. Who cares?
It doesn't.
All right. That is it for us for episode 194, Coming to America. Look, I'll tell you right now, the next episode, it ain't going to be a serious movie. I mean, it's going to take itself seriously, but we're not. So, look forward to that, and we will see you for episode 195. We'll do a preview episode next week. Later, guys.
See you.
Peace.
Bye. You're watching the Black on Black Cinema YouTube channel. Make sure you check out our full reviews of Black movies, past and present. And every other week, we do a preview episode where we talk about a random topic that affects the Black community.